Hello, everybody, and welcome to another update. I'm Adam Sarhan. I want to thank you very much for being here. Today, I want to talk to you about what I see happening as a tale of two tapes. You know, in the old days, before markets and exchanges went electronic, they used to have a ticker tape. And when people used to refer to the tape, it was another way of referring to the market. So what happened was, you say, oh, the tape is strong, the tape is weak. It just became the way people talked about the market, and they still use it a little bit today, or at least people that remember trading before before, let's say, before 2000. How about that? So there's a tale of two tapes is what's happening now, right? Like the old story, Tale of Two Cities. Here's what's happening. You've got the Nasdaq and the growth stocks that have been undervalued and lagging for a long time, in the last several weeks. Meanwhile, the areas that are back to normal, like the Dow, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, the MidCap 400, those areas are leading. So there's a tale of two tapes. If you're in growth stocks or your Nasdaq 100 type stocks or Kathy Wood's ARK innovation or innovative type stocks, where they had been leading since March of 2020 up until just a few weeks ago, there's a shift going on, a rotation under the surface. But what's happening now is that you've wrung out a little bit of that overboughtness in the Nasdaq and the growth stocks, so let's put growth land, and then value stocks, let's just keep it simple, have taken off. So now what's happened is that growth stocks have become, in the short term, oversold or extended to the downside and due to bounce. Meanwhile, the value stocks, the areas that have been leading, are now overbought and due to pull back. So that doesn't mean that the move is over, any of that fun stuff. I'm just sharing what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing is that the leading areas that are now leading, like the value areas that had been undervalued for the past 12 months, are now leading. They're overbought. And then the Nasdaq 100 type stocks, tech stocks, let's call it that, are now lagging. But there's a mean reversion happening, or it could easily happen, where the Nasdaq 100 over the next few weeks could easily lead again, while the other indices that I just mentioned pull back. And that's normal to see that, rotation happen. I call it the great mini rotation. The reason why is because the great, rotation usually means out of stocks into bonds. That's what, most of Wall Street uses as far as the word rotation. So what I use is something called the great mini rotation, where under the surface in the stock market, you've got one sector leads, takes off, then it corrects or pulls back, and then another sector leads. Meanwhile, you have that, it's, rolling areas of rotation, rolling bull and bear markets, rolling corrections, whatever word you want to use, uptrends, downtrends, under the surface. Meanwhile, you look at the Dow, or you look at the S&P, or the Nasdaq, or the Russell, or the MidCap 400, whatever you want to look at, doesn't matter. Everything seems to be fine. The index is holding up rather well. But under the surface, you've got that rotation that I just described happening. So I call that the great mini rotation. And what's happening now is the Nasdaq 100 type stocks are trading right below the 50-day moving average, or the QQQ. If it gets above that level, which is not that far away from here, that would be very bullish, assuming it can keep moving higher. The next area to watch, if it does get above the 50, would be the old chart highs. And the Dow, the S&P, the Russell, and the mid-caps are overbought. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull back a little bit. Even some of the areas that have been leading over the last several weeks, while the Nasdaq and growth stocks have pulled back, those leading areas, energy, travel, the Boeing, Caterpillar, those kind of stocks, they're overbought. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull back. Cruise lines, transportation stocks, so on and so forth. That being said, hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care, everybody.